Kultured Kast has been created for entertainment and educational purposes. The advice given are opinions of our host and not of medical advice. The podcast is not a substitute for direct, personalized, professional medical care and diagnosis. Exercises and dietary advice mentioned should be discussed with your physician or personal trainer to find out what is best for you. Hey guys, welcome to episode 4, season 2 of Kultured Kast with the big man, the pretty boy. He's not here right now. The old man, and obviously we're the returning cranium, the brains of the operation, Jake. So bud, why don't you start us off with what we're going to discuss today?
Yeah, generational health and parenting. I wanted to start with a quote just to kind of get the idea.
Yep.
So here's a quote. I would die for my child. I believe you, but would you live for them? Would you get yourself healthy? Would you eliminate distractions? Would you lead them more intentionally? You'd only have to die once. You have to live every day.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about that quote and that idea?
Well, I think it's definitely passed on through parents, right? Like we learn from our parents, they learn from their parents. But I think the tides are turning with generational health.
Yeah.
I think it's starting to become more pro-health conscious than it was in the past.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
To a certain,
Yeah.
I mean, we can see it in the gym.
Yeah.
Right? We see a lot more youth in the gym training.
Yeah.
When I was their age, I didn't see anybody in the gym unless it was gym class.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's changing. But yeah, what do you think?
I think we're still a long way away. I think it is changing. What I see, having trained youth athletics in the Barrie area for like 10 years, was a lot of athletes that struggled because they were obese, and then mom and dad would come in and one or both of them were obese.
Right.
You'd have an athlete that just excelled, and I do understand. I'm going to read a couple of quotes here, but I do understand genetics play a role.
Yep.
But this is what I want, or we want to discuss today: is stop saying, "Oh, I'm obese because of genetics." Just stop.
Yeah,
That's not why. And go back to athletes, you would see that athlete that's in spectacular shape and the two parents come in and they don't need to be bodybuilders at my age like I am, right? They don't need to be that, but they are fit, for the lack of a better term, however you want to define that fitness. Right.
Yeah. Clearly healthy.
Yeah.
What's that,
Yeah.
pal?
Clearly healthy.
Clearly, that's right. Clearly healthy. And it's actually the point, I wasn't going to talk about this, but one of the first AAA teams I took over, and this is, God, it's got to be about 12 years ago now. They were going into the OMHAs, which is the all championship of all 7 leagues in Ontario. And they had a weekend tournament, and the coach came to me about the Monday and said, I want you to give us the meal plan for the entire weekend. Here's our game schedule. I'm like, oh, all right. So, game Thursday night, game Friday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then playoffs on the Sunday.
Yep.
So I literally, sat there and said, okay, how many calories? This is the average age and weight of the kid.
Yep.
This is what I want you to eat Wednesday, Thursday, and when I first gave it to him, he goes, why are you giving me Wednesday? I said, because you have a game for Thursday afternoon or Thursday night. Yeah, it starts before.
Yeah.
So in that week, and I was on the on-bench trainer with them as well, right? So I saw everything, and it was literally down the line of what kids followed the meal plan, and what they didn't was based on what the parents' mentality was. Right. So little Johnny go, I don't want this Subway 6-inch with this and that Todd. Okay, go to drive-through and you get him a double Big Mac combo.
Yeah.
And it was that influence of the parents going, no, this isn't right. Well, you fucking hired me for a job here. You just gave me because of my expertise.
Yeah.
How about you follow it? Now, they went on to win the whole thing, and it was fantastic. But that was my first insight to going, this kid should just be doing what I want him to do.
Yep.
And it's actually his parents that are telling him,
Well,
okay, little Johnny.
they're telling them and they're enabling them.
Oh, right?
Right. And then now that kid is growing up with an enabled mindset.
Yeah.
Right. I get what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've talked on this podcast in the last couple of years, but I was a strict dad with my daughters when Tammy and I were co-parenting, and I was the no guy.
Yep.
Right. But I attempted to shop how Tammy was an amazing cook with the kids, and they always make fun of me that I never made salads and this and that.
Yeah.
But when it came to certain foods, like it was just a no.
Right.
There wasn't a debate about it.
Yep.
Like in my house, if I said no, it's just no, and we went on to the next question. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas the typical teens now, this generation now, is no has to be 5, 6, 7 times.
Right.
And it's not the child relenting, it's the parent relenting.
Yep.
And I have the one stat before I hand it back to you that for if there's one obese parent in a relationship, there's 50% chance that their children will be obese. If both parents are obese, there's an 80% chance of your child being obese. That's not genetics, folks. That's generational health
Yep.
passed down in a negative way through enabling,
Yep.
through their own struggles. And I'm not saying that the parents are totally at fault because they're probably struggling because their parents struggle.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like my dad was a chain smoker, lit a cigarette after cigarette after cigarette. My mom was a smoker. I've never tried a cigarette in my entire life.
Yep.
My sister smokes to this day. My brother does when he parties.
Yep.
So there's 3 people that grew up in the same
Yep.
household. And like you're going to talk about,
Yeah.
if you ask me the question why I don't smoke, it's because my
Yep.
dad's a chain smoker. You
Yep.
ask my sister that, she'll probably say because my dad's a chain smoker.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. It's the famous story of the 2 brothers, right?
Yep.
So it's the idea one is a, very successful man, owns his own business, stays extremely healthy, takes care of himself, his partner, and his children.
Yeah.
The other twin brother is an alcoholic. And they ask both brothers, why are you the way you are? And they both say, because my dad was an alcoholic.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think the other point too is it might be struggles with food. It might be, generational passed down eating habits, but it could just be a lack of education,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they didn't start teaching about healthy eating until I was in high school. And that was in high school. They didn't teach that in elementary school,
Yeah.
really.
No.
Now my daughter's coming home with assignments about eating and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's also, I think, a slippery slope because one of the assignments my daughter had was track your calories.
Was it really?
Yeah.
At what age?
It was last year, so grade 6.
Oh, I don't like that.
Right. So I discredited that. We tracked
Yeah.
her food, we tracked her
Yep.
meal, we tracked her portions, we made sure that she hit every food group, but I would not track the calories.
Yeah. That's
Right. So
Wow.
they're teaching, which is good.
Yep.
But there's that double negative where it's
Yeah.
like, what's the point of the tracking?
Well, it's
calories?
funny because one of the studies between what Jake and I researched, so the University of California, San Francisco's Children's Hospital did a study, and obesity begins typically between the ages of 5 and 6.
No.
So right away, I'm like, wow, it's way too young. But then you look at the studies, and they say that 80% of the kids that are obese at 5, 6
right.
are obese in adolescence. And
Right.
89% of adolescent kids that are obese will
Yep.
still be obese at age 30.
Right.
So there is a time where we need to
Yeah.
educate, or does that fall on us as parents at like 5, 6?
I think
shouldn't
at
be on
that
school.
age, that's definitely on us.
Yeah.
Well, on the original quote I read, it is very clearly pushing the responsibility on the parents,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
which I agree to you. Like if you have a parent and a child, right?
Mhm.
That child is 5
Yeah.
and considered you are extremely obese. If you had to say, what's the percentage blame? Are you really going to say it's 100% the kid?
Right. Yeah.
Is it any of the kid?
That's what
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm saying it's funny that I'm sitting here almost like stepping back because it's taboo to say that anyone is responsible for anything.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Well, because the parents will probably put the blame on the child in some instance because that child will not accept their answer. And this ties back to what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the kid wants McDonald's.
Yeah.
And the parent says no. Then the kid has a hissy fit, a temper tantrum.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the kid or the parent eventually gives in and gets that
Yep.
kid McDonald's. Well, that's like a bird that you feed at the beach. The second you feed it, it's going to keep coming back and harassing you for more food.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the Pavlovian effect. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to reward me because I cry,
Yep.
well then I know all I have to do is cry to get my double Big Mac.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And talking about responsibility of parents, there's an argument that says a task is on a scale from easy to difficult, right? It's going to fall somewhere, any task. Example, a task, because parenting is a task.
Mhm.
So a task of tying your shoes, how you would put that on the scale is if you put in a very good amount of effort, what are the chances of you doing like a really good job, completing the task perfectly?
right.
So tying your shoes, basically everyone that puts in a decent effort learning to tie their shoes
Yeah.
learns how to tie their shoes. So you can safely put that on the very end of the easy spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's say doing some sort of physically or cognitively advanced task. So whether it's, learning some sort of advanced mathematic skill set, or like
Trigonometry.
Yeah, trigonometry, or being in a certain percentage of population for the height for a high jump. You know what I mean? Like, people can put in a really strong effort for a really long time, and there's a chance that they're not going to be able to complete that task.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say for the high jump thing, you can have people that spend years and put in all their effort, but they never actually make it to that upper echelon of level. So you can safely put that on the difficult task, right? So that's how tasks are laid out, on the easy to difficult sort of. But if you asked the general public, is parenting an easy or a difficult task? Which way do they lean?
Difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult, right?
I think it's one of the hardest jobs in the world.
Okay. So if you say that it's difficult, it's really difficult, one of the hardest jobs in the world, it's going to be on that extremely difficult end of the spectrum. By that definition, that means that even if people put in a really strong effort, lots of people don't complete the task to satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you say it's extremely difficult, maybe everyone who puts in a really good effort, like a really strong effort, maybe only 50% do the job to a satisfactory level. But I think if you can say parenting is difficult, but you can't say the other end of that, right? Everyone does a good job parenting. Everyone's a great parent.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's the case of, they're trying their best.
Yep.
Well, sometimes your
That's a
best isn't
fucking
good enough.
cop-out.
It's a cop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% it is.
Yeah.
And I think too, I think parenting is extremely difficult. I would love to pat myself on the back and Tammy for how we did when we were apart for 6 years and how in those 6 years, our daughters never even realized that we were separated. Just thought we were in love living in separate homes because we never said anything negative about one another. Right.
Yeah.
But don't for a second think that I don't think back at times where I go, fuck, I shouldn't have. I could have done this better.
Yeah.
I could have done that better. I
So
shouldn't have
hindsight's
said
20/20,
this.
right?
I
Yeah.
should have spoke up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an imperfect strive for perfection that you're never, ever going to get.
No.
But we all know, and you and I being parents, that there are people out there that don't even give the fucking effort.
Yep. No.
They just, and we heard a horrific story in a couple of episodes. Like, look the effort that Amanda's mom, the dad was never even there.
Yep.
The mom didn't give an effort. That's to an extreme.
Yep.
But then I also know people, I think you're an absolutely fantastic father.
Thank you.
50% you have your children. I know you as a person. I know that you're a stand-up guy and your integrity with them but that's not the norm.
Nope.
It's not. And I do agree with you, to go back to your original one. I do think it's getting better
It is getting better.
by generation.
Yeah.
My mom went through an absolutely horrific childhood, and I'll never get into it on this show. As bad or worse than Amanda's story, right? And then I think back of some of the things that happened when I was a child, and I'm like, yeah, fuck, that really sucked. Nothing compared to what she went through.
Yeah.
And then I think now with my daughters and my 2 granddaughters, Tammy and I were driving home from her parents' house when they were telling us a story of that generation that just didn't give a fuck about their kids. Like, we'll go away for the weekend and lock the kids out of the house. And my stepdad said he would, before the parents did it, he would actually unlock the milk box. So then the dad would think they couldn't get in. They'd crawl back into the house to keep warm for the weekend.
Oh, wow.
And I sit there and go, the fuck, I would never think of
Yep.
locking my kids out of the house for the weekend.
Yep.
So the generations are getting better.
Yep.
I just think there's also things that our generation that we're parenting and with my grandchildren that we could still do a whole lot better.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, even now, they'll just hand a kid a tablet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
There's your babysitter.
Yep.
oh,
Now I don't
100%,
need to engage with you.
Yeah.
I don't need to play with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
You're entertained.
Yeah,
I'm good.
That's effortless parenting.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the negative of where we're going now with parenting.
Yep.
Where before you didn't have that. So you
No.
did have to rely on playing and engaging and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we're headed in the right direction. And I know I'm not a statistics guy, but I did find a statistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Millennials were polled, and 53% of them value health and wellness, which is more than any other generation.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
53 is a high
53%.
number.
Yep.
That's a
Yeah.
high number.
Yeah.
So that is trending in that right direction.
Right.
Well, you brought up something interesting earlier too, when you said back in the day when you were younger and you were at a gym, you didn't see. Like when I played athletics through high school. I think I played 9 different sports in high school. I never picked up a weight.
Yep.
I was just a good athlete, right? Like my best friend John and Dave, both just great athletes.
Yep.
Then there was 2 dudes, Kevin and Dan, I think the other one's name was, Kevin and Mark. They were just jacked, man. And I remember in the change room, we're getting ready for football one day, and I'm like, holy fuck, man, you look great. He goes, oh, I just came out of the weight room. Oh yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now you look at our gym, we'd probably got a couple hundred high school students,
Yep.
Easy.
if not more.
If not more.
So it is changing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, we're going to discuss in other episodes coming up, not necessarily changing for the better.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more because of social media. It's brought that importance of aesthetics and
Yep.
how you look.
Status.
Status is where I was going with that too. Where back in the day, you know, if
didn't
you want to
have
see a
any of that.
picture of me, I went, I shook
Yep.
it for a while. And then
Yeah.
I showed you the Polaroid, right?
Mail it to someone.
Yeah.
The
Now
smoke
it's,
came out.
now it's, you look at that, right?
That's the closest
And
thing
buddy, the best thing I had for filter for Polaroid was a little black marker.
Yeah.
That was our filters.
Yeah, and that was their version of a DM. You take a Polaroid, right, with a black marker on the back.
Hey,
Mail
how
it.
are you?
Yeah.
Can I see
Mail
it?
out.
No, it's not
Wait.
ready yet. I'm
Yeah.
still, it's still drying.
Wait 3 weeks and they respond.
Oh my God. So our favorite doctor, like you and I both follow him. I'm going to hopefully pronounce this right. Dr. James Nicolantonio. He quotes, "Your genetics aren't the problem. Your habits are. Genetics may load the gun, but diet and lifestyle pull the trigger. Eat the real food, lead a healthy lifestyle, and watch your health improve."
Right.
It goes back to what we talk about with doctors and drug dealers too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people like to overcomplicate it in the sense where, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? When we talked with the doctors, drug dealers, when they said like meta-analysis, thousands of studies.
Yeah.
What is the best way to control weight? And they
Yeah.
said an exercise program that,
Yeah.
that includes strength training and cardiovascular with
Yeah.
a healthy, well-balanced diet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we spent like millions of dollars on the studies necessary to tell us you should probably stay active. You
Yeah.
should probably stay active, do your cardio, and eat healthy food.
The rudimentary solution,
Yeah.
but we
Like,
spent
oh my-
billions of dollars to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah. Crazy.
Okay, going back to you gave the example of giving an iPad
Yep.
to a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. So someone was talking and they said, okay, if you were gonna like create an adult, you know what I mean? Like blank slate, like a video game, give them their stats, whatever. Which is funny because you immediately think, oh, okay. And you start to think of it from a different point of view. That's called having a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair,
That's called having a child.
Yeah.
You're building an adult.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they say, okay, so if you want them to be a hard worker, right? You're probably not going to give them the most privileged life.
Okay.
You're
Fair.
not right. You're not gonna do anything.
Things aren't just gonna hand it to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do anything disgusting like the examples you gave before. But you're
Yeah.
not just gonna say, stay on the couch. I'll bring you everything. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna give them planned trials,
Yeah. Chores,
everything else like that.
responsibilities.
Obviously, especially in today's society, having patience is almost a superpower.
Yep.
Right?
Oh my
You can
God.
almost guarantee success to someone growing up right now if you can bless them with the gift of delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
To have a young child coming up with the ability to have delayed gratification.
Ironically enough, that's what Mr. Rogers did on his TV show.
Well, was what? What do you mean?
When he would sit there and talk very slowly,
Right.
and he would sit there and he would tie his shoes without any words being said. That was him teaching kids patience on his
Right.
TV show.
I never
Delayed
connected that.
gratification. I watched
Yeah.
the documentary on it.
Yeah, I think I watched the
Yeah.
one. I forget that part, but yeah, that's what he was
Right?
doing.
And we
Very
don't have that
interesting.
on TV anymore.
Well, it's actually the
No,
opposite,
yeah.
right?
All
So
right.
it's the idea where again you're creating this human, and
Yeah.
you want that superpower,
Mhm.
Yeah.
patience. Would you give them something? Would you reward them instantaneously when they act up, and reward them with something that gives them a dopamine hit on average every 3.5 seconds?
Nope.
Is that a good strategy
No, I don't think so.
to create that adult?
Yeah.
Right.
No, you get more enablement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
100%.
enabling.
Yeah. And part of it too, like part of parenting by far, and I'm glad you brought up the word patience.
Yeah.
Patience is the most difficult trait to have as a parent.
Yep.
Because inside, I believe my perspective is inside patience is a situation. So inside that situation, as a parent, now you're doing calculate. You go back to trigonometry. You're like, okay, so hold on. What is the best case scenario? What's the worst
Right.
case outcome of this?
Yeah.
What did I do last time? How was the outcome of that last time?
All in
Maybe I
like
should
3
do the
second
opposite.
span,
Yeah, and then I go, no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. But there's, and I've aged. I used to be a very easily unlikable person. It was my way or the highway,
Yep.
attitude and opinions beyond galore. And I know you guys probably don't think it's much different now, but I see now with my granddaughters. So we have
Yep.
our granddaughters for the weekend,
Yep.
and they'll go to do something. Well, Cole and Haley's parenting are totally different than what mine is, what Tam
Yep.
is.
Yeah.
And they'll do or say something, and Tam and I'll just look at each other. Okay. And then, we're back at to what, or there may be times where it's like, okay, well, not at Nana and Papa's house. Like, this is what we do here type idea and try to, but parenting is situational. And you're judged on the grandiose picture, but each situation has a level of patience that I'm sure sometimes you fail friggin' miserably, and sometimes you're patting yourself in the back going, that was a good dad day, right?
Yeah. And talking about that situational, so parenting, leadership, whether you're a manager of a shift or if you're, manager of a gym, if you're the manager of a giant company. Yeah. So they say every entrepreneur manager has a toolkit, right? For every situation. Right. There's millions of toolkits or millions of tools in your toolkit, but some of them are being extremely stern, right? Yeah. Some of them are disciplinary action. Yep. Yeah. Some of them are making someone out to be a bit of an example, right? Those are tools in the toolkit that can be used if they are justified and in pursuit of a specific outcome long-term. Yeah. Right. Yep. So that's okay. It's in your toolbox and you're using that because it helps you put the puzzle pieces together. Yeah. On the opposite end,
that's fine.
If you are using those tools to self-soothe,
to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. You feel like your child has slighted you, so you yell at them because it makes you feel better. Those are two children talking to each other.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And we've all had, I'm sure you as a dad, I've sometimes, it just happened to me last Friday where I had a couple of business calls on the way home and pulled into the driveway and Tammy called me. I said, honey, I love you, but I'm going to call you back. Yep. And she knew right away. Yep. And I'm just like, I was not in the headspace to go, hi, honey, I love you. Like, how was your day? Yep. I needed to come down. Yep. I needed to make a couple more phone calls to kind of smooth the situation. But then when I walked in, it was sort of like open the door and it was like, hey, yeah, how's your day? Great. Yep. And then she's like, no, it wasn't. And I'm like, we don't need to talk about it. I'm good now. Yeah, exactly. But in that moment, I would have been a child if I had responded back, because I would have responded back in an inappropriate way.
Yeah. And I don't want to say that you're going to get canceled. You know what I mean? If you act up as a parent one time. You know what I mean? No one is saying that. No,
but you got to be aware enough to catch yourself.
And make sure we go back to that one time.
Yep, exactly. One time, right? If that's an outlier, that's what it is. It's an outlier. Yeah. If that is a pattern, that's what it is.
Okay, and that's where I want to go back to where we started this whole episode on is, if both parents are clinically obese, and you have a clinically obese 7 or 8 year old, that is a pattern. Yes. That is a not one-time behavior where you gave in to little Johnny to go for a double Big Mac. Yep. And I shouldn't keep saying that restaurant, but giving him or her something that is not right. Portion size, type of food,
the amount of
type of day you're eating. Yep. There's a multitude of decisions in that, right? Yep. To me, generational unhealth is something that parents need to take a much better shot at. Yep. And again, go back to Tammy and I when we were co-parenting. Right. Tammy and I were both competing from 2008 to 2013. Between the two of us, we did 5 shows. So for basically 5 years, our daughters watch us measure chicken and rice on Sundays. Yep. That's not good either. Nope. Like that's a negative way. And both my daughters are healthy. Thank God. My one daughter did have an eating disorder for quite a while. But was it based on that? I don't know, but it could very well have been my fault. Yeah, right. So at least I think we and she has broken out of that pattern, but to go back to the obese child who now by statistics says you're going to be obese till at least 30. Yep. Until some other factor within you or something else changes that.
It would have to be their own action to break that cycle.
It has to be. Right?
And the only way that cycle breaks is if they take responsibility for the next step and stop blaming.
And that was a pattern of parenting. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah. And I hate this, that I feel almost like I got to watch what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is parents should take responsibility for the consequences of their actions.
Yep. Which is what they teach their kids to do.
Yes, it seems right. It seems like not a crazy thing to say, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm saying something I'm not supposed to say. Yeah. And I think
this might be edgy.
Yes, this might be crazy. Because I think society really does push for poor generational health.
Of course they do. Yeah. There's no money being fit.
No. And I think the idea on social media and stuff, like how many times do you hear like a parent might say to parents, and they might say, don't let anyone tell you you're being a bad parent. Imagine if you were running a business into the ground and you said, I'm not going to let anyone tell me I'm a bad business owner.
That's right. Yeah.
That seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because people would say like, well, there's actually just like the proof, right? The of your actions. The results of your actions are proof enough whether to
let's
know.
look at start to finish where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is so ridiculous that parents say, don't let anyone tell you you're being a bad parent.
Yeah.
What if you're a bad parent?
The ones around you telling you that you're not a bad parent are now enabling you.
Yeah.
They are.
Right?
Like
Right.
I've been in situations, I'm sure you have too. And I'll just like at someone's home or family party or something and the kid's acting up and I'm looking at Tammy going, holy fuck, I would bring that kid's neck. But she knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then I think back, okay, were my daughters, did they ever behave that way? So I'm trying to go back and Cole for that matter.
Yeah.
We'll go back in time. I'm like, no. And then I think, okay, well, that's because of Tammy and I.
Right.
Like that kid is acting up and everyone in that party is like, oh, they shouldn't be going, oh, that kid. They should be going, oh, that parents.
Yeah.
Well, so one time I was at Walmart. And you know how they line the fucking checkout counter with candy?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to get you.
My daughter,
Impulse buys.
Yep.
Yeah.
she's 2 or 3, and she sees the candy and she's like, I want that. And I said, no.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to check out. She starts crying. I'm not going to rip her out of the store because she needs to learn. She needs to, manage herself.
Yep.
You mean patience?
Yep.
Patience.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you're done. And I'm ignoring it. Yes, I know it's annoying everybody else, but I'm not about to rip her out of the store because that isn't teaching her anything.
Yeah.
An old lady walks up and just leans over and goes, I'll buy her that candy.
No way.
Yeah. And I looked at her like, the fuck you will.
Yeah.
I am telling her no. That does not mean that I want someone else to buy it.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm telling her no because she doesn't need this candy right now. She's like, there's no point for this candy right now.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that was the response that we got. Was someone coming over like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is that older lady doing that because she wants the kid to shut up?
Right.
Or is she doing that because she's a kind old lady and she loves, you know what I mean? Like,
right. You never know, but
there are things that Ari and Maya are allowed to do at my place that Cole and Haley will look at Tammy and go, really? Like, I know there's a show that Ari is not supposed to watch. Papa and Ari are watching that show today. I'm telling you that right now.
Going back to exactly your example.
Yeah.
Right? Your child, again, that aisle is for children, not for parents, right?
Oh, God.
And they're just assuming that parents will give it.
Yep.
Right? This is a strategy.
Yeah.
But okay, so your example. She starts crying because she wants immediate gratification, right? I see that I want it.
Yeah.
And you're engaging her in the sense where like, no, we don't need that candy right now. This isn't a time in which we are celebrating, right? You know what I mean? Like, like there'll be times when you have candy. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But it's just not right now.
Right.
There's a life lesson there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I'll be fair. I've been in that situation right behind you in that line and I'm going, oh, like, you know what I mean? I'll be real. Right?
Yeah.
But you have a choice, right? Do you care about your child's development or do you care about what the stranger in Walmart is thinking of you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people care more about what the stranger in Walmart
Oh, for sure.
Well, and I'll see it. Like, so when I'm in any type of setting and I see a kid having a tantrum and that parent is like trying to manage it and they're not having much luck.
Yeah.
I can either give them a dirty look or I can give them a nod.
Right.
And I will 10 out of 10 times give them a nod and be like, I get it.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah. Been there.
But when I see a kid doing a tantrum, having a freak out, and then I see that parent just give up and give in.
Yeah.
There's no nod there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I remember someone giving a suggestion in the sense where, so fighting with your kids, right? Like an argument.
Yep.
Right. They said, their best advice is have less of them, but you better fucking win every single one. The idea where don't be setting some ridiculously high expectations of your children and then sometimes giving in.
Yeah.
Because now they just know it's like, okay, like I guess there's probably like I'll have a sufficient answer when I've whined and cried and demanded 14 times. Because then they know, you know what I mean? I've never won one after 14.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine if your kid knew that they've never won one after one.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you didn't set that wild expectation. You know what I mean? Like if it was a Saturday and they wanted a candy, they say like, yeah, let's share one. We'll eat it when we get home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the times in which you laid down the law, they knew that it was like, there's no fucking chance.
Yeah.
Well, even to touch base on something you just said, where we were talking about the situation with my daughter in the line, and I said no to candy. You said, it wasn't a celebration or it wasn't So that's the other problem.
Right.
Is every time there's a success, it is let's go for dinner.
Right.
When you're getting older, it's let's go for drinks.
Yeah.
Oh, you got your needle today at the doctor. Let's get you a candy.
Right.
Oh, you went to the doctor's office. Doctor gives you a lollipop.
Yep.
They are constantly rewarded with food.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder that as adults, they cope with food, happy food, sad food, angry food, hurt food. And then eventually that can just stem into alcohol and other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just taking a step back to the yes and no fighting with your kids. On a psychological level, children crave consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Like desperately need consistency. They need rules. They need
structure
to understand how the world works, right? They are new players in a game that have no idea what's going on. The nicest thing you can have is structure in their life that helps them succeed. If you don't give them that consistency and that certainty in the sense where they don't even know if no means no, you are doing a disservice to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that, again, like you said, it is not fun for anyone involved to be in that Walmart line, right? When a kid's losing it, right?
Yeah.
But you can be nice to you or you can be nice to the child in the opposite way of what you're probably thinking. It's nice to you, just fucking give them candy. That's nice to you.
Yeah.
It's mean to your kid. Right. Because they don't understand what the rules are, right? You're not giving that consistency that they actually crave. And being nice to the kid is engaging with them, explaining why you can't have every single thing you want at the moment in which you want it. And it's mean to you in the sense that you have to, get side-eyed at Walmart and stop and everything. Yeah. But that is actually the thing that is nice and caring to your child.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got to also, I happen to think, so going back again to the topic at hand with the obese children and how a parent will say, I'll lie down in traffic and die for them.
Right.
Well, no, how about you just stand up and live for them and show them a healthier way to live?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We also, as parents with struggling kids with obesity or whatever it is, they need to understand that the word no isn't necessarily a bad word.
No.
Right. But there are parents out there where, she doesn't like to hear the word no, so we just give it to her.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Then you've created a codependency with that child that they will never, ever get out of. Or if they do, it'll be millions of dollars of therapy to get out of that because they've equated the word no with disappointment, being unsuccessful, not getting their way.
Right.
Where the word no can also be switched into a very positive, like, no, not right now, but here's a scenario, right? Like, I want to eat this. Well, we're about to have dinner, so no, not right now.
Yeah.
But absolutely after dinner. Yeah, I'm glad you picked that. I like that too.
Right.
And all of a sudden you've turned that no into a positive and a reward at the end of doing something healthy action first. Right? Yeah.
And going back to the quote that we started with.
Yeah.
As a parent, passing down your genes, right? Your genetic information to your child is on a biological level the most important thing you do. Right? The second you have passed on that genetic information, they are more important than you are. Right?
Yeah, I get
in
that.
the biological sense. So I hate when you have that dad that says, I die for my kid. That's actually the biological bare minimum. You are puffing your chest out and saying that is actually the bare minimum you can do as a human being.
Yeah. And there's an unwritten expectation that
you're like, like if you wouldn't, we're going to take your kid away. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is the absolute bare minimum. And then once you're above the bare minimum, how much are you going to live for them?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So I feel like if you're saying I would die for them, but realistically, I'm not going to live for them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to change anything.
That's inconvenient.
Yeah. Anything I'll ever do.
Yeah.
I'd probably hide the fact that you're doing the absolute bare minimum.
Yeah. But isn't that now been made like a normal thing to, you're a good father.
Yeah.
Right. He would die for his kids.
He would die.
Yeah. What other fucking guy out there is saying, I'll throw him in front of the car.
Yeah. I'll quit drinking for them.
Yeah. Let's go back to the obesity thing where people say, it's genetics and they have a glandular problem. Back to James Dick Antonio said 90% of diseases related are lifestyle choices.
Right.
So especially the ones that are associated with obesity.
Yep.
It's associated with the food you eat, the amount of exercise you get, and the toxins that you expose your body to.
Yep.
Alcohol, drugs, cigarettes. Only 10% of disease-related from lifestyle come from genetics.
Yep.
So stop saying that your child's obese because of genetics or they have a glandular problem.
Right.
It's not.
Yep.
It's 90% the other way. It's 90% lifestyle choices.
Yep.
And for a good part of their life, up until they were 5 or 6 and beyond, you as a parent were making their lifestyle choices for them. They weren't.
Nope.
So take some fucking responsibility
Exactly.
as a parent.
Yep.
That's the last thing I have to say.
Yep. Well, that's
You good with that?
Yeah.
Do you think Corey has anything to say, pal?
What do you think, Corey?
Corey? Hold on. He's not, you know what? He's not feeling very well. Corey's not feeling well. He'll be back for episode 4. All right, we ready?
Let's do it.
Questions? Yeah. I'm good.
How many languages can you say hello in?
2.
4.
Okay.
Shit.
Yeah, I got high and bonjour.
That's
I
all
got
I'm
hi.
saying.
I got
Yeah.
bonjour.
Yeah.
I got
Okay, I
Sign
do.
language.
Okay,
Okay,
three.
Okay.
right, and then
You claimed one more.
Yeah.
konnichiwa.
There you go.
Oh, konnichiwa. Good one.
There you go.
Oh,
Yes.
I fucking pulled that out of my ass.
Konnichiwa. That was good.
Mine just jumped up to 3.
You make us all smarter. Okay. Have you ever made a prank call and what was the best one you ever did?
Oh yeah, I used to do them all the time.
Right. That used to be a thing when we were kids too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because you used to be able to block your number.
Yeah.
Now they make you pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talked about the one that we did on Corey in season 1, which was phenomenal, right? One of the best ones to try to get Tammy's mom on April Fool's Day is absolutely impossible. But Tammy pulled up the best one ever. So they get Comp's room up at Casino Rama, right? Because they go and play the penny slots. God love them. And they took the girls up sometime in March or whatever. They went for the weekend and the kids played, the girls played in the pool and came home and then Tammy just ding went off, right? So April 1st, she had a friend call and say that they were calling from the school and that they had an issue. They needed my mother-in-law to go in because one of our daughters was basically bragging that she'd spent the weekend at the casino. Well, my mother-in-law lost it. She was getting her makeup and the hair ready and she thought she was going in to get in trouble to explain them. We only took them into the hotel pool.
Yeah.
But an hour later, Tammy finally called her and got her.
Oh my
But,
God.
oh yeah. She was in tears. She thought she was getting in trouble for taking her daughters to the casino.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, mine was just like the basic, is your refrigerator running?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those ones. Yeah.
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 Like being a kid.
Yeah.
We used to do them in high school all the time.
Did you?
Yeah. To my own high school.
Oh, you did not.
Yep.
What did you do?
Well, you would just be, maybe you had a spare. Right?
Yeah.
So you'd call the front and say,
There's a bomb.
No.
Not that. No. We're not condoning that. No.
You'd say like, hey, this is Dan. This is Greg's dad. I'm on my way to pick him up. I'm sorry for the short notice. Can you just call whoever class he's in? And have him come
well
down?
done. Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? You'd get a call, whatever.
Yeah.
And the second your buddy comes out of high school or comes out of class, you'd call again. And you'd say,
That's awesome.
hey, this is Dan. Unfortunately, like it's going to take me a lot longer. He can probably stay in class. So whenever he gets down there, oh, you know what? He's just calling me. I'll just tell him to stay in class.
No way.
Yeah. And then you just hang out with him for the rest of the day.
Wow.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well, I mean,
ingenious.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
I was learning that and not being in actual class.
You turned it out all right.
Yeah.
What celebrity do you think you look like?
Chris Hemsworth, apparently. Travis Kelce,
Travis Kelce more.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Actually, you look more like the brother of Travis Kelce, the center for the Eagles. He's got a thicker
Now,
beard.
yeah, I got a bigger.
Yeah, you got a bigger beard.
I get told a lot. I actually got one Stabler from SVU, and I don't see that at all. Chris Maloney.
Yeah. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see that. You?
The only celebrity I've ever been told I look like is, I don't know his name. Do you remember the Christopher Nolan Batmans, like the 3 Batmans?
Yeah.
The Scarecrow. The Doctor.
Oh, you kind of do, actually.
Okay.
He's from Peaky Blinders.
And Peaky
Yes.
Blinders. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Yeah. So I've that's the only person I've been told you kind of look like this person.
All right. Interesting.
What about you?
Oh, Bruce Willis.
A little bit.
The bald head.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just
and I'm
above the
slowly
eyes.
slipping into dementia. So, and that's no shot at Bruce. I apologize. He's one
Sorry,
of my
Bruce.
favorites. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. What is popular now that you think we'll be embarrassed about in 3 years?
3 years. So like
3 years?
pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing now that we think that we're going to be we're going to be embarrassed later?
Bringing back mullets.
Oh, that's a good call. That is good
Wearing
call.
Crocs in the gym.
I was literally, and so not even just the Crocs,
Not just the Crocs.
maybe Crocs will still be, you know what I mean? That people like, I like, if you take your garbage out in some black Crocs, like I'm not going to like, but if you have what are deemed fashion Crocs,
Oh, you mean the Croc boots?
maybe Croc boots, or are we adding JR? in this? Like, are we tagging him with it?
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Half of Boots and Hearts next year will be wearing those.
Oh, 100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, the other thing too is that I've seen a couple times, especially on social media, you see it in like the Rocky #2.
Yeah.
Is the dudes with the shirts that don't quite reach. You know what I mean? There's a little belly showing.
Yeah.
A little belly showing.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple guys
Yeah.
wearing I don't know.
Buddy, that's back in my day in the 80s.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you want to call it a crop top? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is it a
I used
crop
to
top?
wear crop tops and tight shirts, man.
Yeah. So
Do you have a picture of that somewhere?
You know what? I think one of my daughters does.
Yeah, I think that's like kind of
Post
coming
it.
back in style, but I think it's gonna be a real quick like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mistake.
Yeah.
And not only that, boys, I had the mullet in there too.
Nice.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I had the Wayne Gretzky feathered hair and curled perm down
I
the
gotta
back.
see
Crop
this.
top and
I
the
gotta
tight.
see
I'll try to find the photo because it's very
We're gonna
damn,
add that to this episode
it's
right here.
damning.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, raptor.
Yeah, I'd say a Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I like T-Rex. All right. What is the thing that you notice first about someone when you meet them?
Eyes.
Interesting, because I go to somewhere too.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to say eyes or like facial structure.
Facial structure, really?
Yeah.
I go right to teeth.
Yeah.
Teeth are number one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
You got some bad chiclets, maybe, or you got some nice teeth.
maybe this is like the second or third thing I notice.
Yeah.
But is fidgeting or the speed at which they move in terms of mannerisms.
Really?
Yep.
That is so intriguing.
Yeah. I find I can tell a lot about someone and if at the speed in which their mannerisms present themselves.
I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
So give me an example.
If they're twitchy, I don't want to say twitchy, but if they're really quick to change topics and look this way and they have to move. Yeah. And the speed at which they talk can usually tell you how they form ideas.
Wow.
How do I form ideas?
Awesome.
I want to know more.
Yeah.
How do I form ideas?
Yeah.
I think you are on like average in the sense where you are not going to jump to a conclusion extremely quickly and start acting on it.
Correct.
You're going to mull it over, think about it, and go.
Yeah.
And I think there is a correlation to people who don't break eye contact and how slow they change their mind on a subject. They're going to think about it, mull it over, maybe think of 2 or 3 options and then move. But if someone's darting all over the place and looking at your eyes and looking at the other person, whatever, if you give them an idea, they're going to jump on it and start moving on to the next idea before they have thought about even the rationale behind the first idea. Even if it's an irrational idea, they're going to start.
Wow. Okay. So I want you to analyze me for a second.
Yeah.
So I'll get an email and you've seen a bunch of them, right?
Yep.
So I'll get an email and I'll think how I'm going to react.
Yep.
And I just type what I'm feeling.
Right.
Yep.
And then I step back and then I go back to the first line. It's like, hi, Jake. How are you? Hope everything's well.
Right.
And then I add to the
stuff.
end,
Right.
hey, I hope you have a super fantastic day.
Yeah.
And then I will read what I wrote first and went, okay, well, I got to take that out. I'm going to put that in.
Right.
And then that ends up being probably closer to the correct response type idea, right?
Yeah.
But my impulse is to drop the
Instantly.
hammer or have an opinion or say something. But then I think I've matured enough over the years now where I'm like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
There's an edge to this and you can smooth the middle by smoothing out the edges. Right?
Yeah. And I think that's Stoics talk about the idea.
Yeah.
Where don't get it fooled. Every single human feels the full spectrum of emotions. Right.
Yep.
From the lowest lows to the highest highs to something that gets you so excited that you want to jump at it, right? Something that gets you so sad you don't want to do anything. Yeah. That is, no one's getting away from that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Except some people immediately act on it and some people come at it with clarity and emotion. Clarity and a lack of emotion, right?
Right. Yeah.
Rationale.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this the best decision to make?
Right.
The first part is not up to you, right? You're a human being that's going to feel the full spectrum of emotions. It's what is up to you is how you react to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that so fascinating. That's awesome. What was your worst drunk moment?
Drunk moment?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Well, you've only for drunk.
Yeah, you probably had some bad ones in there.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot. It was we ended up getting a bottle of 75 proof, so it was
Disgusting.
lemon
I
heart
like
rum.
the story so far.
Just became belligerently drunk. We ended up putting fireworks in my pockets,
No.
and I leaned back and we blasted them out of my pockets. And like hindsight, I could have lost a lot there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow none of this.
And that was like,
surprising.
that was just like the tip of the night. Like that night was oh my God. Yeah. But that would be it. Yeah.
Wow.
I
got one.
It was kind of funny. So first year university, we're like belligerently drunk. We're walking back into residence, like first year, like living on campus, walking back to residence, there's drop ceiling, right? So my one buddy goes, oh, I wonder if I can jump high enough to pop it out with my head, like the drop ceiling. So he like jumps and kind of like, and then like it just, you know what I mean? Like you hit it, but it's like, you know what I mean? And I was thinking, man, like I have a really good vertical. So I'm like, I'm going to like,
it's a
smoke
bust a hole. So I jump and I like pop the thing out, right?
Right.
But you got to think there's a frame. I hit it, travel, forehead.
Oh, did you really?
Oh yeah, cut like a big cut, like right from above the eyebrow, right across, bleeding down my face. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You would think I'd be able to predict that.
Yeah.
That
You should have.
sequence of events.
Your
No.
trajectory.
Not when you're belligerently drunk.
Right.
No.
Which I'm also intrigued as to what that would be for you.
Yeah, for him. Yeah. Yeah. A couple glasses of wine. I puked all over my vice principal in high school.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's backstory.
Pounded a 26er back of rye after the football game the Friday night at my girlfriend's place. And we went to the dance at the high school. And last thing I remember, I was in the office and I just looked that up and just projectile right down his suit.
Right.
And my mom and my sister had to come and pick me up. My sister tells a story that my mom was just screaming at me the whole way. But my sister was in the back of the seat holding my head straight because that's how drunk I was in the front seat. Passed out. Woke up in the morning. My brother said, you know what? The best thing, Todd, is just chug this bag of milk, pal, because you're really thirsty. So I took that bag of milk and I'm chugging and chugging and chugging. I walked downstairs and it starts to curdle.
Yep.
Oh.
And I went down and projectile down the bathroom in the basement. Oh, it was the worst morning of my life. And my mom's come down. She's screaming to get me. You're going to clean that up. And I'm yelling at my brother. But yeah. And then I had to pay for the dry cleaning of the vice principal.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Needless to say, I went on to get suspended 3 times that year. So, tell me what you're doing for the rest of the weekend imitating your significant other. So like, are all you guys on the same team?
Fuck.
Yeah, my husband and I were going to go out and then I'm going to go to Starbucks. And I'm going to talk to everybody in line and I'm going to get 4 new BFFs. And then we're going to go home and probably go to sleep early. Because I'm the nicest person in the world.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, please.
Yeah. He's really getting in the zone.
Gotta get in the zone.
Get into character.
I'm sweating.
Is she here?
She was. She dropped my food off.
Oh,
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, start with that. Good. Thanks so much for my food. I'm about to roast you.
Yeah. Scene.
Oh my God, this is the toughest one yet. Jake, you can't go?
Yeah. Mine's super easy.
Yeah, I'm going to eat tilapia.
Yeah, it's just being super excited. Yeah, I'm going to cook tilapia and then I'm going to eat the tilapia that I already cooked. And then I'm going to put it in baggies, put it in a row in the fridge. It's the best. I'm going to put salt on it. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
the day was really good because I saw a dog.
Yeah. Oh, did I mention tilapia?
Yeah.
Bud. I got nothing on this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bow out of this one.
Yeah. Also mine would talk about, I had the best protein shake ever. It was so delicious. Like I want to make it again. So what was in it? It was just protein and water.
Yeah. No, but it is no,
just protein and water. It was the best. You should try
it.
it.
Explaining their weekend or our week, like my weekend?
Your weekend, whatever. You can take a pass.
I'm taking a pass.
Take a pass. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to episode 4, season 2. We'll get back at you shortly. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.